The information provided is not a substitute for legal and other professional advice where the facts and circumstances warrant. People should always consult their own legal or other professional advisors and discuss the facts and circumstances that apply to their specific circumstances.
Hello, everyone, and we're back with another episode of Ask the Landlord with our favorite landlord, Albert Dweck. I'm Melissa. I'm one of Albert's producers and a former New York City renter myself. Together, we're going to be asking this landlord some questions. And today, I was in New York recently, a few weeks ago, and I was with a friend at a bar, and I told her, I was like, I'm doing this podcast. Do you have any questions for the landlord? She's been in Brooklyn for over 10 years. Well, she started in the West Village and now she's in Brooklyn. She's been renting. She's from Long Island. So she's a New Yorker. And this was her one question she wanted to ask. Are you ready? I'm going to play it for you guys.
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Albert does not know this question.
I would want to know more information about the building's history and also how much the building was purchased for and how much profit they're making on my rents that I pay them.
So could you hear that, Albert?
Yeah. So how much how much was the building purchased for?
Right. Obviously you don't know that.
Well, you can look that up. That's
right. But so she's asking like
public record,
Right.
And it sounds like that question is coming from, oh, they must be rich. What are they making on me?
I think so.
And I think that's like a misconception about landlords is that they make a ton of money, and I know there was a study done recently where it said, oh, how much do landlords make? And like out of $1, landlords make 6 cents at the end of the day. Because what happens is the landlords have to, charge appropriate rent after buying a property, then handle all the expenses of managing a property, which is, real estate taxes, insurance, utilities, repairs, and then, obviously if they have a mortgage. Okay. So it's like, oh, and then how about this? Let's say in a pretend fairy tale that real estate taxes don't go up.
Mm-hmm.
That's impossible. They go up, right?
Right.
And then let's say there's no war in Ukraine and Russia so that utilities don't go up, but utilities go up, right? Yeah.
Right.
Let's say there's no big storms and there's no insurance damage. So insurance doesn't go up, but insurance goes up, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say that people want to make more money so that repairs and maintenance cost more because you have to pay people more than $20 an hour because minimum wage went up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, rents we're trying to keep pace with all those expenses, but so the idea is that the landlord hopefully pays an appropriate amount of money for the building so that they can charge an appropriate amount of rent to cover their expenses and the mortgage, and then come out with some money at the end. But what we look for generally is like some, when people invest in different businesses, ultimately all businesses are about revenues, collecting revenues, minus expenses, where your revenues are more than your expenses. So you have some kind of net profit, right? And that's what everyone's trying to do. Usually the numbers for real estate tend to be much less because there's inherent value in the real estate. So as people say, well, it's not like I'm making jeans, for example, where, I'm making jeans and I'm selling them. And then, I have to make a lot of money on that because I have to go rebuy the jeans or I don't have the jeans. But in real estate, we make much less because you have the building, right? So it's like one day you buy the building, then one day you could sell the building. So there's something there that helps you cover the making little money part. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people that make money and a lot more money, and that's fine, but there's reasons for that. So that's generally, there's a, like I said, there's a misconception. It sounds like that, someone was asking from that point of view. But I hope that's helpful in responding to that question.
It is. I remember I did tell her the 6 cents on the dollar because I remembered that from another episode, and she just couldn't believe it. She's like, "There's no way. There's no way." Because I think we calculated it, and it was like the landlord only made like around $2,500 a year from profit for her. You really think that's about accurate with all the costs you mentioned? Like it could be that.
It depends on the price that they pay for the building.
That's true.
You know,
I don't know.
So right. So then there's a lot of things that go into that.
Mhm.
Whether the rent's a market rent or not. If it's stabilized in some way, what expenses the tenants are paying, things like that. So we can answer all those, and we can certainly analyze different cases. But in general, it's like supermarkets also. Are you familiar with supermarkets?
Am I familiar with supermarkets? It's my number one passion in the world besides this
You know,
podcast.
they make very little money
I mean, I don't know the
on a
economics
percentage
behind
on a
them.
percentage basis. They make very little. They do a lot of
Okay.
volume, but they make very
Right.
little because they're
Yeah.
selling essentially commodities. There's not a lot of markup in that. Like
That's why
milk,
Italian restaurants for
right?
flour and flour water to get pizza pasta, that's where the dough is.
They must. That's like banks are where the money is, right? They must be
Right?
making
No,
more.
that's true. I understand that. You're talking, the profit of it all.
Yeah. So
But so open a bar, everyone.
there's a real like, and I think people would be happy to share with people how here's the money that comes in, here's the money that goes out. You tell me where it is.
You're saying you're saying landlords would be transparent about that?
Sure. I think, and why not? I mean, if you want to, I'm happy to analyze something with you if
Wow.
that makes sense. Sure.
No, that's really interesting. I could never picture myself asking my landlord, "So, what are your profit margins on my apartment every month?" They would not answer.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, ask your landlords, what are they profiting?
I think it'll be a good exercise for everybody.
I think it's a good, and communication, and is it worth it, right? I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to pay and support the artist, right? I'm not. All right. Thank you so much, Albert. I think we're going to ask more questions because I think it kind of throws a curveball at you from strangers, right? From New Yorkers or even nationwide, right? You're familiar?
Anybody. I'm familiar. Anybody. It's good. Ask questions.
All right.
Ask away.
Anyone. We're gonna come up with a phone number and you guys can call in, leave a message. We'll put that in the show notes. And also you can ask on social media at Ask the Landlord on Instagram. Send a DM and he will get back to you.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Albert.
Thank you.
For more episodes, please subscribe to Ask the Landlord on your favorite podcast platform. We'd appreciate it if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to watch the show, check out our Ask the Landlord YouTube channel. If you have a question for Albert, feel free to contact him on Instagram at Ask the Landlord and check out his TikTok at Ask the Landlord. Bridging the gap between landlords and tenants, this has been Ask the Landlord. Thanks for listening.